Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's session on Autodesk Construction Cloud's RFIs, issues, files, sheets, and user management. Before we dive into things, I do just want to present one quick housekeeping item. I may make forward-looking statements about Autodesk products during today's presentation. And remember, none of these statements are promises of what's to come. We have a great session for you here today, talking about Autodesk Construction Cloud's issues, RFIs, files, and users, and how you can go and build integrations to each of these modules within Autodesk Construction Cloud. Hope you leave today's session with a better understanding of what Autodesk Construction Cloud is and how you can go and build those integrations with each of these particular modules. From an agenda standpoint, I just want to run through a couple of slides on what the product overview of Autodesk Construction Cloud, how we view integrations here at Autodesk Construction Cloud, and then of course hop into a live demo and showcase how you're able to work with the individual APIs that we built out for each of those modules, and then leave you with some technical resources and helpful resources on how to go and get started. Okay, so as you may know, and as you may hear from customers over and over again, construction demands connected workflows, whether that's between different phases of construction or between different applications. It's imperative that your application works in conjunction with others out there. And we've gone and built Autodesk Construction Cloud in a way that not only intertwines the different phases of construction, but allows customers to use Autodesk Construction Cloud as a connected ecosystem amongst all the other applications that they may be using on the job site or in the office. But taking a step back, Autodesk Construction Cloud spans the entire construction lifecycle. So it helps guide contractors through design, pre-construction, construction, and then of course operation. All of these things you see here on the screen are different things and different workflows customers can achieve with Autodesk Construction Cloud, whether they're conditioning their models, generating quantities from takeoff packages, or managing their budget, change orders, issues, RFIs, and then of course closing out the project and handing it over to the owner or the operator. All this can be achieved through Autodesk Construction Cloud. And when we refer to Autodesk Construction Cloud, that is referring to the suite of products that we are delivering to construction teams. Autodesk BIM Collaborate allows design teams in particular to condition 3D Revit models in the cloud. Autodesk Takeoff allows them to generate quantities from those 3D models or 2D drawings that exist inside of the platform. And then, of course, Autodesk Build is used during construction and has everything and anything a project team may need to go and accomplish and get their project done. Issues, RFIs, their sheets, photos, videos, all the stuff that's collected on site that needs to be analyzed and work with throughout the duration of the project. You'll see at the bottom Autodesk Docs. So Autodesk Docs underpins all of Autodesk Construction Cloud, meaning those 3D models can move between not only different phases of construction, so planning, designing, pre-construction, construction, operation, so forth, but all three of our point solutions. So that model, Revit model, maybe as an example, that's authored in Revit, can be pushed into Autodesk Docs through our cloud share workflow and then used within each one of these three things you see here on the screen. So teams can take it out into BIM Collaborate, condition the model, prepare it for construction, generate the quantities from it if they want to prepare an estimate on the model, and then take it out into the field within Autodesk Build, where they can visualize it on site. They can have all the properties. Everything that is contained within that model is available to them now as they're working through the construction phase of their project. But from an integration standpoint, it's really important and crucial to understand that Autodesk Docs is the underlying document management behind all of Autodesk Construction Cloud, because when you integrate with Autodesk Docs, you're effectively integrating with all of these things you see here on the screen because it's that common data environment. Okay, and from an integration standpoint, we've worked over the past couple of years to build out over or work with there are over 280 partners that have built over 400 different integrations, and again, make Autodesk Construction Cloud a part of a connected source of truth for our construction customers. So they're able to integrate cost data, whether it's their budget or change orders, integrate files from cloud storage solutions into Autodesk Docs, or maybe they're generating and creating safety issues in a third-party tool that need to flow back over. And when the status updates to complete it, it reflects back in the original system of record. You know, we again have over 400 different integrations that span all of the Autodesk Construction Cloud products, so that construction teams can go and ensure that their data can go in and out of Autodesk Construction Cloud with ease. And of course, when we show that slide to customers, what they might actually be thinking and seeing in their own businesses is this, sometimes a somewhat messy web of connections between all the different points that they may be using on site, whether in the office or on field or, to coordinate their models and whatnot. We're not saying that we've solved the web of chaos that builders may need to navigate, but what we are saying is that we have built a framework and a set of APIs that allow you to go and build meaningful integrations that customers can go use, and so that they're able to use our two tools together and improve our outcomes on the job site. Okay, so speaking of APIs and whatnot, I first want to just take a one step back and talk a little bit about the different modules that we'll be covering here today and the APIs associated with it. So kicking off with RFIs and issues, when we talk about RFIs, this workflow allows customers, whether they're in the field on the mobile app, as you'll see here, or on the desktop, to initiate RFIs and get the answers that they need from other members of the project team, even if they're external users. So if the architect, for example, is someone that needs to answer this RFI, it can be done within the RFI workflow. And from an API standpoint, we have an endpoint for Autodesk Build that allows you to not only create the RFIs, but you can get the status updates from these RFIs. And you can, of course, update these RFIs. So, for example, if in your system you also have some sort of way to create and generate RFIs, or maybe it's that you need all of the metadata from the Autodesk Build RFIs, you're able to do so with our API. Autodesk Build Issues, similarly, can be created from the field, so on the mobile app, or from the web. And these are, we call them issues, but they're all encompassing, can include punch list items as well, or maybe it's safety checklists or QA/QC, or maybe it's just an issue that is spotted on site and needs to be resolved. So these are great because they can be pinned on the exact location on the drawing or on the model. And the API allows you to go and create these issues, get the status updates from those issues, and of course, update them. So we have a suite of APIs that you're able to use to work with all the content that users might create within the issues module. An important piece of this too is that in both issues and RFIs, there's a notion of references. So a reference can be a reference to a cut sheet, or maybe it's a reference to a contract, or maybe it's a photo that is taken of the problem, in this case, a small hole in the drywall. What you're also able to do with the API is attach a reference to the particular issue or attach it to the RFI. So you can imagine a world where you have a safety app that you have, and you want to sync the issue with, or create an Autodesk Build issue along with the photo that the user's taken from your mobile application into Autodesk Construction Cloud. So with the API, you can create the issue, you can create that element, the document, the photo, and then you place it as a reference to that issue so that all other stakeholders are aware of what the problem might be and where on the job site the small hole in drywall is. On the web, this is what it looks like when project managers are managing these issues. They'll see and can customize the different columns and whatnot. But the point being is that project managers can filter these down by status or by type or who it's assigned to, its due date, um, and so forth, so that project teams are moving forward and have a bird's eye view of all of the things that are happening on their job site. And again, going back to what I mentioned a few moments ago, it's not just an issue. So it's not just a problem. Teams use these for punch list items or safety observations, or maybe it's design, commissioning workflows, and so forth. So we call it issues, but it's fairly well encompassing, to say the least. Okay, and I mentioned just a moment ago about files and sheets. So Autodesk Build Sheets is where users or customers store their 2D drawings. They can upload these drawings via a workflow that we have built in where they can upload PDFs, and we'll extract out all the relevant information from it, including its name, its type, and organize it. There's also a workflow between the model and the drawing so that customers can export the set of drawings that exist within the Revit model directly into Autodesk Build Sheets. And that's a really great workflow. So you can imagine a world where they're working on a model that comes from Revit, they condition it, they've got the quantities from it, and now it's ready to be issued for construction and distributed out to the field teams. With just a couple clicks, they can push and use that Revit model inside of Autodesk Build Sheets. But from an API standpoint, we have just released in the past about 12 months or so a new endpoint to export the sheets that exist within the Sheets module. Previously, you could only create those, but we're really pleased to announce and share that you're now able to export those drawings, including any associated markups from the Autodesk Build Sheets module, so that you can use those 2D drawings that customers manage inside of Autodesk Construction Cloud within your own application. Common use cases might be of overlaying the sheet with job site imagery, or maybe you just need context from the drawing into your own system. And this new API will allow you to do that. It exports as a PDF so that you're able to use these fairly well within your own application. And then when we talk about files, that ultimately refers to the documents that, of course, live within the files module. But the back end of this is Autodesk Docs. So anything that is pushed into Docs can be accessed in individual projects, in this case, the East Residence Hall. And it's a one-stop shop for all of the documents and such that exist or that customers may need on the job site. So it's not only their contracts and their operation documents. It could be photos and videos, or maybe it's a closeout package that they're distributing out. The 3D models, it's customizable, and customers can create both different folder structures, as you can see here on the screen. And from an API standpoint, you can create these files, you can get the files, and we have webhooks for this particular module so that you're able to instantly get any changes that occur within not only Autodesk Docs or Autodesk Build files. And then last but not least, from an account administration standpoint, this is where customers go to manage all of the project team members and users within the project. So the project team members, when I refer to that, or excuse me, the hub users are ones that are on the hub level. So these are, team members that are added at the hub or at the top, and they have access to the entire hub. They could be an account manager or whatnot. And then on the project level, you're able to manage the members on the project level so that you're able to add users and whatnot to particular projects that teams may need access to. And from an API standpoint, we have endpoints for both of these. So you can work with users on the project level, and you can work with users on the account level. You can also work with the project information that exists inside. So you can imagine a world where you want to keep in tune the name or the information of an Autodesk Construction Cloud project with the corresponding project in your system. You can do that with the API, or maybe you want to import all the members from a particular project, in this case, the Seaport Civic Center from Autodesk Construction Cloud, and import them into your system. That can be done with the API, and I'll show you that here in just a few moments. Okay, so I'm going to pop over to my other screen, and we are going to go through a quick demo or live demo of all these things that we were just talking about a few moments ago. I do want to start, so where I'm at right now is the Insights dashboard within Autodesk Construction Cloud. And I didn't necessarily mention this during my presentation, but I do want to highlight this because these cards you see here, many of these are built by Autodesk. So like the budget trend, open issues, project issues, and so forth, are all ones that are built by the Autodesk team and customers use to track and understand all of the aspects of their job site. We do have the opportunity for you to go and build an embeddable experience for this dashboard. So in this example I'm showing here, the Matterport team has gone out and built an embeddable view where directly inside of this dashboard, I'm able to go and navigate through the Matterport system and see all of the content from their platform. On the right-hand side of the screen, you'll notice that I put up my partner card or the partner cards tab here. So this is how customers are ultimately going to go and add the partner card to their dashboard to be used, and these can be moved around. So like in this example here, I'm looking at my Matterport walkthrough next to all of the project issues, so I can visually see what is happening next to the information that's collected and managed inside of Autodesk Construction Cloud. The only requirement to be included or have a partner card is make sure your site or your web app is iframe compatible. Customers go through here, they select the one that they want, add it to their dashboard, and they're off to the races. They can also expand these to be full screen, so I'll make a little bit more real estate so that if you're working through something and you want to highlight it or you want for it to take up the entirety of the screen, that can be done too, and then it just collapse back down while you're done or when you're done working with it. What's really great about these is that they can be shared with other project members on this particular project. So that you can create this dashboard and share out with all the project team or particular members of the project team. In this case, I've shared it with everybody on the project team. Whereas you might be able to, if you want to, you could share it with just particular companies or particular members. But any case, moving along, hopping now over into Autodesk Build. I'll first start maybe from the top and from the files that exist inside of Autodesk Build. So remember, this is one-stop shop where teams store 3D Revit models, they store their contracts, they store their commissioning docs, they store drone imagery. All this stuff can be organized into different folder structures. And of course, I picked one that has no content. But here, you'll find that on the web, you're able to click into each of these individual files, navigate through them, mark them up, and so forth. And then show you in a moment how you can actually reference these to different aspects of the project. But Revit models too, when you push these into the system, customers are able to navigate through and load that model right into our viewer here so that they're able to see and have all the properties from that model just inside or natively inside of Autodesk Construction Cloud. But remember, from an API standpoint, when you upload a file into Autodesk Docs or the Files module here, it's effectively stored inside of Docs and then accessible throughout each of the different types or modules of Autodesk Construction Cloud, whether it's takeoff, build, or BIM Collaborate. So again, the API allows you to create these items, work with these items. So if there's a file that a customer uploaded themselves, you're able to get that file from the system and import it into your own platform. And then similarly, moving over to the drawings or the sheets, quote unquote, on the web, you're able to see and upload and create these drawings from the Revit workflow that I had shared previously. But what's really cool about this is whether you're in the field or in the office, you're able to create different markups. So here I've created this red cloud to call out this resource room E101, and I can publish this to the rest of the project team so that no matter who on the project logs in and goes to A101A, they too are going to see this red cloud. And I'll go into issues here in a second, but what's great about the sheet level is that customers can pin issues or RFIs directly to the place on the sheet that it's relevant. So going back to the API, if you create an issue and you attach some references to it, the customer can come through and pin that issue to the right and corresponding place within their drawings. And same deal, they can publish it. And this one's already published, but I'll unpublish it or just show you what this looks like for a second. So if you were to publish this issue or unpublish it and publish it back again, right now everyone can see it. But the point being is that this is a highly collaborative environment for customers, whether they're in the field or on the office, to work with and navigate through the 2D drawings. You also want to mention as well that the system, when uploading these drawings, creates these call-out links automatically so that when you're in the field, it's incredibly useful to just tap over to the relevant cut sheet or the relevant call-out that is referenced here within drawing. So regardless of if you upload these with the API or a customer does it themselves, these are created. And then I also want to mention too, once these clouds or any markup really start or are created within our system, customers can come through and then link that cloud or link the markup to a particular project file. Maybe it's one that you've created or an RFI or other aspects of Autodesk Construction Cloud. So here, I'm just going to link this to this PDF. And then once I tap into this again, you'll see that there is this reference now on this sheet. So point being, if you work with the files or you create these files or you create the issues, RFIs, it's not a static object. It's one that can be used and referenced across all of Autodesk Construction Cloud, including the sheets. So let's pop over into the issues. So over here, again, this is the web component, and I'm just going to open up one, but for the most part, all the modules you see here, the title, the status, who is assigned to, and so forth, are available with the API. So you're able to create these fields and you're able to fill in all of this information with our APIs. And we were talking a little ago about the references. So this is a really powerful workflow, and maybe I'll find one that has a reference already. Let's see here. Okay, maybe not. But with the API, you're able to reference different files, RFIs, drawings, etc., on these individual issues. So here I'm just going through, quick folder structure to try and find some. Here we go. So, there's a couple of different references maybe that I want to add here. And now these live as references on this particular issue. And it's not just files, right? It can be an RFI, it can be submittal item, it can be a change order, it can be a photo. The API allows you to go and build these references between Autodesk Build Issues and the corresponding object. So the workflow largely would be, many partners have already implemented this, is creating the issue with the API. So creating it, giving it a title, a status, a type, a description, assigning it a manager, and then creating the object. So creating each one of these individual files. Maybe an easier example is one that's a photo or is a PDF report, and then going through and actually referencing that file to the issue. So when the customer comes back over into Autodesk Build, they have the issue that they've created from your system, but all the corresponding and referenceable data so that they can go and understand, and others on the job site can understand what the problem is, and have what they need to go and resolve that issue. As the status updates from draft to open to pending to completed, you're able to get those status updates and reflect that back into your system as well. It's just an important detail that I want to call out. Similarly with RFIs, so again, this is where customers or maybe need, say there's a beam and there's asking themselves, hey, like, is this beam actually supposed to be in this place? And they need input from the architect. They're able to go through and generate an RFI for the architect or the project manager to follow up on and distribute an official answer, including the references that are relevant to it. So like same deal here. In this particular RFI, there's a Revit model, there's 3 issues assigned to it, and then a draft change order as a result of this RFI. But from the API, again, you're able to create these, you're able to get all the status, or all the updates from it, and then work with the references that exist inside of the RFI. And then just going back over to the sheets, again, speaking of references, so once those items are created, they can be pinned down to the location on the drawing, or they can be referenced on the clouds or the different markups. And I say cloud, but the different markups that exist inside of here. So like on this one, for example, this cloud is actually an RFI. So like on unit E136, like this is linked to the corresponding RFI, that maybe is created from your system, or maybe it's one that you've linked from ours into yours. But the point being is it becomes a highly collaborative piece of information that can be used across the job site. Okay, and then last but not least here, our project members. So again, this is where customers are going to go to manage all the members within their project team and manage the general information about the project, its name, its address, start date, and so forth. All these things here are available through the APIs. So you're able to work with our project members, work with information about the project, and so forth. And from an API standpoint, all of our APIs are hosted inside of the Autodesk Platform Services site, aps.autodesk.com, and you'll see them listed here under Autodesk Construction Cloud. So if you go into our documentation, and on the left, and this is all linked, by the way, in our developer guide that I'll share here in a few seconds, you'll see, for one, a couple helpful getting started guides and a couple overviews of all these, the modules I was talking about, but all the other things that exist inside of Autodesk Construction Cloud. We have a getting started guide on how to register an app, acquire that three-legged token, and then of course connect it to the hub and then connect it to the individual projects. It's not just we don't just have a getting started guide. We also have guides on how to work with, say, the issues, so retrieving the issues, creating issues, adding references to the issues. These are all listed out here on the left. Similarly, there's sheets, uploading sheets, exporting sheets, and so forth. But of course, if you want to dive into the actual documentation, that's under this section here. So like using issues as an example, you'll see all of the endpoints that we have for the issues. Get the issues, post issues, the comments from the issues, Anything and everything is going to be listed here on the left. But what I would say is that these how-to guides are actually quite helpful in, like step-by-step instruction on how to go and retrieve the issue or create an issue, or add the references to the issues, and so forth. The documents that I was showing earlier are run through the data management endpoint. So here, again, this will be linked within the developer guide that I have at the end of the presentation. But same kind of, we have how-to guides on how to get files from docs, and then of course upload files into docs. Again, this is all within aps.autodesk.com. And then if you ever just want to see an overview of all the different APIs that we offer, not only Autodesk Construction Cloud and the documents, we have all sorts of things, whether it's a viewer, a derivative, building connected, and so forth, all exist inside of APS. Okay, so going back here, to wrap, we of course, and we talked a lot today about the APIs that exist for Autodesk Construction Cloud. We also have a set of endpoints for the desktop tools, whether it's Revit or AutoCAD or Forma. There's all sorts of things that you can do and build plugins for using those endpoints. We have an integration partner program that we'd love for you to join so we can work together to help you develop your integration with Autodesk Construction Cloud or the design tools, and then of course market that integration externally to customers and ensure that our sales reps are aware of the integration, understand the integration, and educate them on the value of the integration. And then I'll leave you with this. If you hit the QR code on the left-hand side of the screen, that's a link to our developer guide that has everything you need to know about Autodesk Construction Cloud, links to all of these resources that I was showing here today, including links to the individual how-to guides. And the link on the right goes directly to the Autodesk Build APIs. But with that, I thank you for your time here today, and thank you for tuning in.